Well, good morning, everybody. It's a brisk November morning, and we're still kind of on a break. Unfortunately, this one was forced. Well, John's being forced to leave the country. Well, for work, but he's still being forced to leave the country. And Sean, well, I don't think he's ever going to get out of work. Actually, it's that time of the year when the naval shipyard is very busy, and so they're busy catching up and trying to get things done. So they're defending our country. Thank you for what they do. But in any case, we're going to go in, give you an update of what's going on. Sorry for the tardiness of this video, but we'll get it out to you as soon as possible, and I hope you enjoy it. As you can see, it's not raining today. Come on in.
Okay, here we are at my dispatcher's map. Now right away, I want to point out some things. This staging yard, this marked Cheyenne, and this one that's not marked, which will be Pueblo, is actually connected. The ends here actually connect to the ends down here. This basically, the layout is one giant circle, but we'll be running linearly from Loveland all the way down to Colorado Springs. To kind of give you a scale of what's going on here, each of these towns have a peninsula or a section of fascia that's in front of it. So I measured the fascia to give you an idea of how big some of these towns are. So the Loveland section here, which is the town of Loveland, Colorado, is 15 feet long. The town of Longmont, its area there, is going to be 12 feet long. Denver, which consists of one half of a peninsula and the whole back wall, is 55 feet long, and Colorado Springs is 20 feet long. By the way, that pretty much corresponds to the size of these cities. Not exactly, but a good fair representation of them. Denver being the largest of the cities, Colorado Springs being the second largest. Now, currently right now, we have from Pueblo, from actually this portion of Colorado Springs all the way back to through this staging yard up into here and all the way to Denver to the Union Station. That's all laid in right now. Now that I'm speaking of the main line, the dispatcher's controlled area, not the sidings, not any of the yards for the most part, just the main line and Denver Union Station passenger. So of the layout, which calls out for 103 handmade turnouts, I currently have 37 of them built. 19 of them are completed, installed with hot frogs and servos placed in, thanks to John. The main line currently we have from, and this is the visible main line. So this is coming from the Loveland Y across this northern half and all the way into Denver, is a linear 78 feet already laid and in place. If you include the sidings, we have 106 feet laid already. Of the total track that we have laid, we have over 512 feet of track laid. 370 feet of that is just in the staging yard. Now the staging yard is designed so that we can run trains from the north and the south. And the goal is to run trains that are approximately between 40 and 25 cars long. So to give you an idea of my staging capabilities, basically what I've done is taken the staging yard and divided it in half. That allows me to put two trains back to back. Now, I don't have to do that. If I want to use the whole staging yard, I could lay it all the way across. If I were to do that, this first track through here, all the way through Pueblo, would actually hold a train that consisted of 4 locomotives, 98 cars, and a caboose, or a way car, as they call it in the Colorado and Southern. The top smallest storage track could hold, again, 4 locomotives, 76 cars, and 1 caboose. So I can store some very large trains in here. But ideally, I would actually split them in half. So that would allow me to store in the first track here 2 trains that consisted of 3 locomotives, 46 cars, and 1 way caboose. And the top track, the smallest one, would allow me to put 3 locomotives, 36 cars, and 1 caboose on it. So you can see our storage capabilities are quite large.
So with all that storage, we need to have a location to basically send those trains, and it's here in Denver. Rice Yard, which is right in front of me, which you can't see, probably the ladder, is got 6 tracks coming into it. Those 6 tracks can actually hold over 150 cars. So those 40-car trains will be coming into Denver here, be shuffled around in those 6 tracks, and then sent out in the direction they're supposed to go. In addition to it, the layout is designed to service Denver Union Station, which has 4 different railroad companies bringing trains. The Denver Rio Grande, the Santa Fe, the Rock Island, and of course the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy, which includes the Colorado and Southern's local routes that they're running. These trains located in these 4 tracks here, which Denver had 8 and we reduced it down to 4, will be able to hold 12 to 14 foot trains, with the exception of track 4, which will only be able to hold about 10 foot long trains. Those trains will then be able to be sent out, turned around, and flipped around so that they come in. So the Denver Rio Grande, the Santa Fe, and the Rock Island will be coming from the south end of the layout, and they'll basically come up to here in Denver. They'll get their engines turned around. The yards will move and shuffle all the passenger trains back around, and then they literally will turn around and head right back down south. From the north end comes in the locals that are coming from Colorado and Southern, and the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy's Denver Zephyr will be coming in from that route there. The California Zephyr also comes in from that route, but unfortunately the track that the Colorado Zephyr heads out west is not modeled on my layout. So the train may come in and then it'll disappear. I'm not sure how we're going to do that yet, but we may even just eliminate it altogether. But we have already 8 named passenger trains alone that come into the Union Station that we can easily model and not miss the California Zephyr. The other thing is the Colorado and Southern in this time period has a few locals that it runs. One heading north all the way up to Greenlee, which we don't have modeled, but it does head up to both Longmont and to Loveland. So we can model that and then have it flip back down and head back this way. Heading south, there is a passenger train that actually runs down to the, actually it runs all the way down to Pueblo, but we can run our local all the way down from here into the staging yard, and then we can have it run back up. So that's what I've got planned for the passenger service there. To control all this, we're using Tam Valley's Octopus 3s. These are very handy, very inexpensive. They allow us to control our servos. Now, as they stand by themselves, they work really well for our local uses. They can't be controlled by JMRI. You can buy a daughter board which allows DCC to be connected, which is what I'm doing for all of my JMRI controlled dispatcher desk control. We'll actually put a daughter board on these, and it'll actually control the turnouts that the dispatcher is going to have control over. But locally, we'll use the same system. John thought that would be easier than having multiple systems, so that's what we're doing. On the local side, what we'll do is we'll build panels that basically use Bennett Hill's touch toggles. Now these toggles basically will just plug in, and you have to buy the the Tam Valley touch toggles, and you basically will just plug those in, and when they power up, they're available, and they have 2 LEDs, and you simply just touch them and they automatically flip back and forth between the 2 settings. And it also gives us an LED light telling us the direction that the turnout is turned in. So that's what we'll be using locally to control all of this. We also use Tam Valley's frog juicers to juice all the frogs. Hot frogs are really important when you're running short steam locomotives. And in the yard here, we'll have some 080s and some consolidations running. So having those locomotives running through hot frogs just makes perfect sense. And that's pretty much what we have for track laid out right now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get behind the camera. I'm going to show you Union Station, what we've got built here. I got this from CMR, which is Custom Model Railroads. I bought this about a little over 10 years ago. The gentleman there sold the parts to me. It is not a kit. I basically had some photographs that he gave me of his construction of it, and I basically had to put it together from that. And then I'm going to show you my custom build terminal grain elevator, and we'll go from there. So hold on a second, and we'll be back in just a minute. All right, here's my model of Denver Union Station. This model is 10 years old, and it's showing some of the wear and tear of that. Actually, most of the damage and wear and tear is from tearing down the old Colorado and Coyote Creek and putting this new layout back up. But all the sashes and all are sitting in a plastic bag waiting to be repaired. So when this section finally gets scenic, this model will be in glittering shine and details and not quite so dusty and all. The model is 46 inches long, and it's a good representation of Denver Union Station. The experience I had, CMR's models that they build are made out of a vinyl plastic. And if you've never worked with vinyl plastic before, there's a couple things you have to learn. One is they don't work with normal glues. You have to use a glue that works specifically with vinyl. And so that was kind of a learning curve for me going through that. The other thing is that the models are all in complete white. And so they have to be, I primed them all and then painted them all. Now, I had the privilege of going to Denver and visiting Denver Union Station before all the remodels that are going on right now. So I have lots of photographs of Denver Union Station in the condition it was when it was actually functioning. So that helped me a lot in getting the colors and all and getting the experience and just seeing the whole thing as a whole. The center section here, as I zoom in here, is the center section there has its interior all complete, and it's all lit up when it has electricity, and the wings are all the lighting is in for those as well, but the interior is not built yet. Some of it started, but it has not been finished. It kind of got put on hold as the decision to do this project kind of surfaced up. So, and again, this model really kind of fit the goal of what I'm trying to do with model railroading. I love model railroading. I love everybody else's railroad that I see. I always learn something and fascinated by them. But I have a couple little pet peeves. I do not like seeing 12-foot long passenger trains pulling up to 1-foot long stations and going, if everybody got off of that train, they would never fit in that station. So part of the modeling and a lot of the stuff I do is kit bashing to make the buildings actually dwarf the trains, which is what happens in real life. So that was the goal that I have. And so this 46-inch long station is just perfect to place a 12-foot long train in front of, and it does not look out of place. The sign that you see up above there is from Miller Engineering, and it actually has the chase lights that work that say Union Station, travel by train. Miller Engineering got that design from Denver Union Station. So when I saw them come out with it, I jumped on it right away. It's all wired and ready to go, but the bracing needs to be placed in the back of it and set up. But other than that, it's in great shape. This is really a beautiful model that I've really enjoyed building, and I'm looking forward to sprucing it up and having it function again. The valances in front of the station there and also the station platforms will all have LEDs I use 403 LEDs into Tichy Train Group shades that they have, basically wiring those up with magnetic wire, pulling them up through the shades, little Elmer's glue onto that, and then putting them through a brass tube, and then hanging them down from the valances. And then as we build the platforms, it'll be the platform ceilings that we hang them down from. They produce just the perfect amount of light. So this building, when it is all lit up at night, is absolutely a sight to be seen with the chasing sign and all the lights. It'll be a center focal place here in Denver. So that's my Denver Union Station. I'm going to turn now to the grain elevator so you can take a look at that, and we'll see you in just a second. Okay, here's my grain elevator. Now, this grain elevator was custom built. The center section is made out of plexiglass, which is painted white. And what you can't see is that there is actually tape covering the windows. And when I finish putting the final details on this model, I'll actually peel the paint off, or the tape off, and then I will put acetate windows frames over where the openings of the windows are, so it'll look like a normal window in place, and then put a little plastic framing around it so it looks just like it should. Then what you see here on top, the top housing is made out of cardboard. It's nothing more than cardstock that's been printed with what looks like a tin shed siding on it. The windows are made from acetate windows. When they light up, you can actually see them. The reason why none of my buildings light up is because I don't have the electrical set up on them yet, but it is coming. This building is 51 inches long and 21 inches tall. And in front of it you can see some box cars. Those are 40-foot box cars, which is what would move grain in the 50s. The grain cars are just being invented right now and will be in use in the next 5 to 10 years. The use of box cars will fade away, and the use of grain cars will replace them. And then what you see right in front of you is my icing platform, and I'll save that for another video. But that's what I've got from there. Now I'm going to focus in on the grain elevator silos here, and you might be able to see it. Let me get focused up here just a bit. Now what I did with these is I took the PVC pipe that everybody uses, but what I uniquely did was I set them on their side, put tape dams on them, and then poured plaster in between them so that they made it look like much more of a solid building like it should be. I grew up in the grain elevator country, and I know that while they are pipes, they don't quite come into a sharp point, and so that's what I've got with that. And so that kind of gives you an eye for the day from there. The car house here where the cars go into, that's just nothing more than ABS plastic that I put together. And there's still details to go on the outside, lights to go on the outside and everything. So that's what you will see from there. But that just gives you an idea of what this is. Again, the goal is to make this look exactly like it should. Now this is modeled after a grain elevator that's located in Commerce, Colorado. That grain elevator is over a mile long. And obviously this is nowhere near that length. But it certainly is not something that you would find on a lot of tables. And it's designed to basically be exactly what it is, a grain elevator capable of having 25, 26 cars sitting in front of it, and it doesn't look like it's out of place. So anyway, there you go. I hope this is enjoyable, both the update and the tour of these two buildings. And as time goes on, we'll focus more onto these and what we've got going on. Otherwise, you guys have a great week and a great month. And of course, as the holidays are coming up, the videos will probably slow down a bit just because